Hi, it's Mr. Baumgarten here with a new series of videos for Shutting college students in the MYP to use Python for image manipulation. This is for the Instalife unit. The software we're going to be using is called MU, which you may have used last year when programming your microbits. This time around, however, when you are in MU setting it up, so hit the little mode button, you need to be in mode Python 3 instead of the microbit. So make sure you select Python 3 and then click OK. The other thing you must do is make sure you are using MU of at least 1.1. And you can see up here, mine says 1.1.0 alpha 2. If yours is still just version 1, or it's less than that, you need to go to wherever I've got the link appearing for the video that walks you through how to upgrade it, and upgrade to at least version 1.1. You might, otherwise, if it didn't appear on screen just then, it would have appeared. It'll be in the description. So once I have MU up and running, I'm just going to click New here, and I'm just going to spend this video showing you a couple of the basics of Python as a programming language before we get into using it for image manipulation. So the very first command that's traditional when learning a programming language is to get it to say hello to you. So I'm just going to say hello world, and that's it. That is our first Python command. And so if I click run, it's going to ask me to save it. So I'm just going to say in my save file box, I'm just going to say hello and click save. And we can see down here the hello world printed out on screen. And if instead of world, if I just say Mr. Baumgarten, stop and run, right, and now it says hello Mr. Baumgarten on the in the bottom window. But there's a whole pile of complexity that's going on here, and I want to briefly run through some of the keys that you need to realize. It will make life easier for you as you progress through this unit. Firstly, Python commands are case sensitive. So print in lowercase is this particular command we're using. If I put in print with an uppercase P and try to run it, it won't work. It says name print is not defined. There is no such thing in the language as a command called print with an uppercase P. It is lowercase only. Whenever we're trying to get Python to run a command, we're generally going to need a set of round parentheses at the end of the command. That's what distinguishes a command or a function, as they can sometimes be known as, from a variable or an object. We're going to talk about variables and objects in just a moment. So anytime I want to run a command, it's going to have the round parentheses or the rounded brackets. Brackets is technically the square ones, just so as you know. And then inside the parentheses, some commands don't require anything, and so it's just a case of an open and closed bracket. And the brackets are just there to tell Python I'm wanting to run this command. Some commands do require something inside them, and it might be numbers or it could be a piece of text. The print command is actually quite flexible. It can take a whole pile of different things inside it. So I can get it to print me a number, or as you saw, I got it to print a text. Now, you would have noticed I used the quotes. And the reason for the quotes is if I just get it to say, hi Mr. Baumgarten, and put that inside the brackets. The problem with this system is that Python doesn't know where is the end of the piece of text that I want it to print. Now we might think, oh, it's the round bracket. But what happens if I actually want it to print a round bracket on screen? It needs some way of being able to tell where's the start and the end of a piece of text. And so programming languages generally use the double quotes for that. Now you can tell I've got an open double quote that has not been closed because MU has given me this big red line running across to the end. And so wherever I then put in my closing quote, the text that Python's going to treat as a text value is in red font. You notice that. So I can now hit run on that, and now it says, "Hi, Mr. Baumgarten." Just on the fact that that's a red font, there is this theme button here. You may have discovered that last year. Change your color scheme around if you wish. You still get a nice big red banner if you've got quotes there. Because if I wanted that round bracket inside the text, I could do that. But now I'm missing the round bracket that ends my print command, and so I need to put another one back on the end of that. And now I get Mr. Baumgarten with my round bracket. What happens if I want the quote to print inside my text? There are ways and means around this. Python is actually quite flexible in that you can actually use single or double quotes for your piece of text, provided that the opening quote matches the closing quote. So if I want some double quotes to appear inside my text, I can use single quotes to open and close it. If I want a single quote inside my text, then I can use double quotes to open and close it. What happens if I want both? Okay, now you're just messing with me. The easiest way, all right, is just to have different pieces of text that you join in together. All right, I was not planning to go down that path. All right, now I'm just going to change this back. So I've got this message here, and we saw that we can print out numbers as well. All right, we can also create what's known as a variable. And a variable is just a named place in the computer's memory. It's like me saying to you, I want you to remember this as a phone number, or I want you to remember this as an address, or I want you to remember this as a birthday. And then later on I say to you, oh, what was that phone number again? Or what was that birthday? Right? You're remembering 3 different pieces of information, and you've got a different name attached to each one. That's all a variable is as well. So I could have a variable called name, and if I put my name in there, right, I can now use this variable wherever Python would normally accept a piece of text. So instead of saying, "Hi, Mr. Baumgarten" here, right, I can now use this variable, and it still says, "Hi, Mr. Baumgarten." Now, I don't have to call it name. That's just me giving it, assigning it a name that I will remember what it means. Okay, I can call it pizza, and Python will still be perfectly happy with that. It doesn't care what it's called. It's the name of the variable is there for you to understand what it is, what it is that you're putting inside it. Right, so I could have num for number, and if I put 20 in there, I can just print out a number as well. Right. Now, but the way these variables work, so you can have number variables, you can have text variables, you can have all sorts of other variables. Next video, we're going to create images as a variable, storing an image in a variable and our camera. Now, this is not saying that num and 20 are equal to each other in the mathematical sense. It's actually an assignment operator. We're saying take whatever is in the right and put it into the thing in the left. So I want to remember a thing called num, and I want to set its value to 20. Right, so really what it should be is like an arrow that runs like that. But the language has been designed to use the equal sign, and most programming languages are the same. But I can actually put a calculation here. So if I want to put 20 plus 15, I can. And I can also use other commands. I can use commands that return a value, that return, something that I want remembered into a variable. And again, we're going to use that coming up. But one handy little one that I'll just quickly show you is the input command, which maybe you might intuitively guess waits for some input. So you can see here I've got my cursor flashing, and if I just say Mr. B and hit enter, right, then the input command got whatever I typed from the keyboard, put it into pizza, and so then print hi pizza, printed out Mr. B. The input command can also have a parameter of its own, so I could say here, what is your name? So now when I run this, it gives me a nice friendly user prompt, so I know what it's expecting and waiting for. So if I say Mr. B here, it will now say hi Mr. B. One last thing I will quickly show you in this video is that we can use it to take these inputs and convert them. If we know that what we are inputting is a number, all right, because at the moment this input command returns a piece of text. So I can't say pizza plus 15. All right. Even if I type a number here, all right, must be str not int. It doesn't know what to do with this because it thinks pizza is a piece of text. Even though I typed a number, it's not intelligent enough to know that it's a number. We have to tell Python that pizza is going to just be a number. So to do this, I'm going to use the float command. I'm not going to get into the technicalities of why it's float. So I'm saying take this piece of text, right, which would look like that. Okay, so it's number, a piece text inside the quotes, and whatever number is inside that piece of text, turn it into a mathematical number that you can perform a calculation with. So now if I say, I really should say, instead of what is your name, this should say type a number. Alright, so now if I type the number 7, hi 7, right, but it's printed out 22 because it took the number that was inside 7, turned it, inside pizza, took that text, grabbed the number out of it, added 15 to it, saved it into num, and then printed it out. That's more than enough for this video. This is Mr. Baumgarten signing.